Hey guys, this is Steve with Empire Academy, and today we're going to talk about is what do you do when you have a vendor that does not show up to a job, and now you have a tenant called and they are upset. Obviously, this is very emotional because a lot of times you have frustration because the tenant feels that maybe, obviously there should have been someone there. And obviously, if there's a scheduled appointment time and the vendor did not show, then yes, there should have been someone there. Now, here's the way you diffuse the situation. The tenant is going to call and they're going to be upset. They're going to be frustrated. They're going to be angry. Anything you say is going to just further inflame the situation, chances are. The first thing you do is you never apologize. Here's the thing. You never apologize for something that's not your fault. Number one, you don't know if the vendor showed up or didn't show up because you don't know what's going on, and you don't know if maybe the tenant and the vendor had a conversation and maybe something happened. You are not the vendor. You did not do it. So I don't think it's right that you should apologize for it. There's no reason that you should take the blame, because what happens is as soon as you apologize for something, all of a sudden they just found a reason who they can take their blame out on. So all of a sudden their anger and frustration goes to you, because when you say sorry, you are accepting blame for the other party. And I don't think that's something we should do, because we're not the vendor, number one. And number two, we don't know the full story. And normally there's a lot more to the story than we know. So what you can say is I'm sorry to hear that this happened. Can I get some more information as to the situation? Sorry to hear what happened. Can I get some more information as to the situation? They're going to tell you what's going on. Now, what you want to do is you want to get just as angry at the situation as they are. When you get just as angry at the situation as they are, there's nothing they can do to get angry at you anymore. And what I mean by that is you say, you know what? That is wrong. That bothers me. That is not right. That is not how our vendors are supposed to operate. And I am going to look into this right now, because that upsets me. And then what you say is, listen, I know how it is. When I have to take off work, when a vendor is supposed to show up for me for something and they don't show, that bothers me. So I know exactly how you're feeling. And for that, I am sorry. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop what I'm doing right now. I'm going to make a call to this vendor, and I'm going to find out the situation as to what happened and why he didn't show. What I'm going to do then is I will call you back in 1 hour. I will give you an update. Even if I don't have an answer, I will call you back and let you know what's going on and how we're handling this. Now, what you've done is you've just taken that person from you and them being adversaries to now you're on the same side with them. You're just as mad as they are at the situation, and you're saying you're stopping everything that you're doing and you are going to get it to the bottom of this, because that's all they want. They want someone to care. Okay? Things happen. I get it. Now, when you call the vendor, I would call the vendor and get an assessment. I would say, listen, we have a situation that you and I need to resolve. And they may be like, what do you mean? We have an upset tenant. And if this gets any further, this could be a bigger problem for both of us. I would like to resolve this with you and I. Can you tell me what happened? The tenant is saying you didn't show. Now, they may have a legitimate reason. They may say, no, we did show, they weren't there, or we couldn't get in touch with them, whatever it is. Here's where you start documenting everything. Make sure you track everything, okay? Your job is to resolve the situation at your level, at CCC level. This should not get kicked up to a property manager, and definitely not to a supervisor. This is something that you handle at your level. So I would say, listen, we need to get this handled and we need to get this rectified. So what is your schedule, and how can we get this taken care of ASAP, right? Because we are in the customer service business. Just calling them back and saying, sorry, I can't get in touch with them is not an answer, okay? So now if you're trying to get a hold of the vendor and you can't, you may want to say, hey, listen, I need you to call me back now, and I need an answer on a situation that is getting worse by the minute. Then I would call the tenant back exactly at the time that you said. If you told them that you're going to call them back in 1 hour, at 1 hour, no matter what, you've got to call them back. And you call them back and you say, listen, I don't have an answer. I'm still working on it. Don't worry. I'm on top of this. I'm not going to let this go. They can't get mad anymore. Now they have an advocate that's fighting for them. If you have an answer, you can say, listen, I talked to the vendor. We're getting this straightened out. I just want you to know, as promised, always say as promised, I'm calling you back when I said I would. That is the most important thing. You've got to call them back. Now, you've got to rectify the situation. Tell the tenant, listen, here's the thing I'm going to do. I don't know what happened. It wasn't me, obviously, but I'm involved now, and I'm going to get this fixed. My job now is to get a resolution. So let's just come to a solution. Let's see if we can get this fixed. We'll take care of the other stuff. Call back the vendor, say, hey, look, we got to get out there. We need you to basically get out there now because this is a situation. If they say no, they won't, then I'll say, okay, you know what? Obviously, I'm gonna have to kick this up to my supervisor, because if we lose a tenant because of this or we get a negative review, this is gonna look bad on you guys. I'm trying to resolve this without this going to upper management. So I think you and I can resolve this between us without this going to a higher level. If they say, no, we can't do it, then say, okay, fine, hang up the phone, get another vendor out there, call the other vendor and say, hey, the other vendor, one vendor screwed up, I need you to get out there. How soon can you get there? That's when you go ahead and you take care of that. So again, this is how you handle this situation with getting it done, getting it done, getting it done. And you've got to be able to make sure that you realize that we got to treat the tenant with respect. We got to make them think that we are stopping everything and getting things done for them. That's the most important thing. Stop everything, get it done for them as soon as you can, and always, always get back to them. Don't take the blame for it. Get just as mad at the situation. I hate when that happens. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find out and I'm gonna get involved in this. So again, these are just some ways to handle when a vendor doesn't show. You should not take the blame for something that we don't know anything about, but they just want someone to get involved, to stop everything and take action. That's what they're really looking for. So this is Steve with Empire Academy, and I hope this helps. Bye-bye.